And we are live. What up, players? Welcome to another episode of Player Life. It is Friday, the 22nd of July, here in Tokyo, Japan. What is good? What is good? So, today I want to talk about why guys should stop trying to source women from dating apps as their well, certainly as their if ideally like they should stop trying to source women from dating apps completely, but in some circumstances it might be beneficial depending on where you live. Like if you live in a very remote place out in the middle of nowhere, you might need to use dating apps, to be honest. But if you can avoid using them, if you can avoid using them if at all possible, you should try and avoid using them. Um, there's just so much evidence and so much reasons for for men to not use dating apps if at all possible. Um, if you live out in the wilderness where you're just like there's you don't have opportunities to do day game, or you don't have opportunities to do cold approach or night game. Yeah, I mean, of course, like go ahead and use dating apps. And I used to use dating apps. I mean, I used to use them in this. Like I know the reason I know this is because I used to use them for a long time. I mean, um, it hasn't been I don't think dating apps were never they were never my primary source of getting women. I never relied. It was never a majority of um it was never a majority in which in a way in which I sourced women ever. And yeah, I think that's the reason why I became so proficient at cold approach and day game. I wasn't always that way, but certainly I never fully relied on dating apps like most guys do. I think most guys, your average guy, um, will certainly use dating apps, and so they probably try to source women from night game, going out to bars or clubs, and then dating apps. So it's probably you know they're probably constantly using dating apps and mixing that up with nightlife. Um, and nightlife is better than dating apps. It's not you know it's much better. Nightlife, anything in real life, any encounter in real life, any situation in which you're approaching a woman, you're talking to a woman in real life is infinitely better than a dating app. um this is unless the only situation in which like you could benefit massively from a dating app as a man is if you are, number one, extremely good looking, or two, uh, at least above average looking, but with some serious kind of clout, as in you're famous or something. So if you're famous or you have some serious clout, you don't need to be extremely good looking. But we're talking about some seriously like we're talking about a seriously small percentage of men that actually can milk um can do really well on dating apps. Um it makes a lot of sense, guys. I mean, the other thing is, can you imagine how many, like there's I don't have any stats to pull up here, but it's pretty obvious to me. Um it's pretty obvious to me that there's obviously a lot more men using dating apps than women. There must be women must be outnumbered so much on dating apps just because of male nature. It's in male nature to try and source women by any means possible. So even I mean, even like men consume internet pornography so much more than women. so much more and on a much more regular basis than women. So you could compare, you know, if you make those similarities between porn and dating apps, you know, you could imagine that there's a lot more men. Like, there definitely is a lot more men on dating apps. I don't, like I said, don't have any stats to pull up. Could look it up, but I'm positive. I'm sure I've heard it somewhere, but it's um it's just in male nature to source women. So obviously you're at a disadvantage already. Like, you're at a disadvantage already. There's way more guys on it. Like, you're at such a disadvantage from a dating app. You can't even imagine. You can't even imagine. First of all, there's so much more guys on it. And then the girls that are on it are super picky. They're super picky because, like, it's just because the way in which men use dating apps. Men use dating apps like they swipe right on almost everything. Um, Even good looking guys, they'll swipe right on almost everything. Um, I know that's what I did just out of curiosity. I want to say it's probably not a good strategy. It's probably a bad strategy, but I mean, regardless, that's what most guys do. Most guys are not thinking about algorithms and strategies and how to beat the algorithm. Even the fact that you have to do shit like that, you have to think about, oh, well, if I swipe right on everything, oh, I might not work out well in the algorithm. I don't, you know, you have to research the algorithms, and it's bullshit, right? Even for that reason alone. But yeah, it just shows that it's just not very, it's far from an even playing field. I mean, even when you go out into a bar or a nightclub, and it's like, is there ever more women than men? Usually, like, in my experience, and I've had tons of experience from going out to nightclubs and bars. There's very there's very few times, very few times. I don't even think I can remember a time when there's been more women in a bar or a nightclub. I don't I can't ever recall that ever being the case. Like, seriously, like, I'm 33 years old, been out hundreds of times, like, to hundreds of different venues, and I can't recall a time where there's been more women in a venue than men. Apart from if it's a strip club, obviously, and even then, there's probably more male customers. But you know, so just imagine what it's like. You know, just imagine how much men outnumber women on a dating app, and then the problem even compounds even further because just in the way in which the way in which men and women use the applications. Um, you know how women are picky in a nightclub. How they can be stuck up, they can be rude, they can be dismissive. Multiply that by 100 on a dating app. So you got to understand it's so much pickier. So you might be a 7 out of 10 guy and be wondering why. Oh, how come I'm only matching with these, like, busted, like, how come I'm getting zero to no matches, zero to, like, very few matches, and even the matches I get, the women are busted, like, they're way, like, even though you're swiping on them, you're just swiping out on them out of curiosity at this point, because you're like, I'm getting no matches, what's going on? And then you're matching with these girls that you wouldn't even use them as a slump buster. You're just like, fucking shit, checking it out, trying to get some matches on the app. That's what I'm talking about. Like, the reason this happens is because women have so much options on dating apps. Men outnumber women so much on dating apps. So women just have they have options, like, literally. Like, I mean, these women that are trying to punch up, women are hypergamous, so they're always going to try and punch up. But on a dating app, they're going to try and punch up way more than they would in real life. That's the difference. That is the difference. On a dating app, women will try to punch up way fucking more than they would in real life. And it's not even that they, I mean, it's weird because women don't really try. It's not really in female nature to try and source men. It's just like they're women are there. They put themselves out there in the world, but they're not making approaches. Women don't really do much to other than like look good and look sexy, look hot, try and look beautiful, cute, whatever. um that's their version of trying to source a man, but they don't really make any advances. Like I've always said it, like some of the hottest girls I've gotten with, some of the hottest girls I've ever gotten with in my life, never gave me any IOIs, never even saw me coming. Like, I just came out of the blue, introduced myself, complimented them, introduced myself, started talking to them. It's that simple. So these girls never like, they never, other than, they woke up, they, put on some had a shower, put on some makeup, put on some sexy clothes. That's what they did to go, but they never did anything more than that. They didn't make any advances. They didn't make any, they didn't give any indicators of interest, all that shit, you know. Um so it's just different. It's not like in female nature to like source men, like to actively pursue them like directly. um so like even the act of a chick going on a dating app is kind of masculine, and if you think about it, because it's like they're, because what's the point of a dating app? It's to pursue the opposite sex. So yeah, it's just, I mean, it's just not something that I don't think women, you're just not going to get the best chicks on it. Like, you're just not. And that's not to say you can never have some good experiences from it, but just when there's so many better options, there's better options out there, there's better ways in which you can get hotter girls. um you might as well go for it. Like I said, if you live in a city, if you live in even in a small town, if you live anywhere, it's better. Like, do you want to punch down or do you want to punch up? Obviously, you want to be getting better, um you want to be getting more for your money, right? um it's like, I don't know, what would be an analogy? It'd be like going into a car dealership with a secondhand car dealership with 100 grand, and then paying 100 grand. Give me the best. Tell the car dealership, give me your best. Give me a good deal, 100 grand. Here's 100 grand. I want to fucking, give me a Ferrari or something. It's 100 grand. Give me a secondhand Ferrari. Give me a good deal. And they say, oh, I'll see what I can do. And then they give you like, they come out and they give you a Ford Fiesta. That's kind of what's going on. Like, the Ford Fiesta is worth like three. Is this, I don't know, secondhand Ford Fiesta? I don't know. It's worth like $3,000. You just paid like 100 grand. That's kind of why. Like, that's kind of, honestly, you might think I'm exaggerating, but that's kind of like to the extent of how you're getting ripped off on dating apps. You're going in with 100 grand, and you're getting 3 grand worth of goods. Like, seriously, it's actually a pretty good analogy. Um, Seriously, like, it's pretty. I'm dead serious about that. Like, you really are. That's actually a good analogy. You're getting ripped off to that extent. Like, you really are. And if you're happy to get ripped off like that, by all means, you know. So, like, the way I see it is, like, if you're a 7 out of 10 man, if you're 7 out of 10, man, your 10, your max, like your 10 is going to be a 7. Like your best case scenario from a dating app is a 7. And that's yeah, it's going to be hard to even match with those girls. So you're most likely going to be matching with like a few points down. So like fives, sixes and down at least, fives and downs even. So you get my point. You're getting hideously ripped off on dating apps, and this it doesn't reflect the real world. Well, while women are in fact picky by nature, and they are picky in the real world, they are nowhere fucking near as close to being as picky as they are online. Um, so yeah, let's just look at this. I want to pick this video apart. Let me share it. Okay.
Don't let Tinder become your life focus. Tinder is an excellent tool to get yourself out there and into the dating world. No matter what your level of success, though, remember that it's just that, a tool. Particularly as you start to gain more and more matches, it can be easy to fall into the trap of obsession. You hear the sound of another Tinder notification and drop everything to check it. The best thing you can do is turn off your notifications. Then you can leave the batch notifications on so you can see if there are any, but turn off those banner notifications. By doing this, you have to go out of your way to see if you have any new matches or messages. Since you aren't alerted every time something happens, the temptation and distraction are gone. Your friends will appreciate it, and it will mean you're treating the app like the tool that it is, not your top priority.
That's that's funny because women will like project. Women have no idea how they have no comprehension of because they're solipsistic. They only think about themselves, so they presume everyone lives like them, or has the same experiences as them in life. So and she's talking about getting all these matches, and it's like what she doesn't understand is that the vast majority of guys like can't even get a match, can't even get a match. Like that's not even an exaggeration. Like literally cannot. Vast majority of these guys cannot even get a match, and if they do get matches, they're few and far between, and the girls are not the kind of girls that they'd even really want to date. Um, or their spam accounts, bot accounts. Like it's just such a shit show. Like it's such a fucking ridiculous shit show. Like it's yeah. This chick has no comprehension of what it's like to be a guy. But she's trying to give advice to guys. So let's hear what she has to say. How single guys can get hot girls on Tinder. Fucking
Don't overthink it. If you've ever caught yourself obsessing over exactly how to respond to a message or which words to use, you're not alone. We've all been there, and it's another easy trap to fall into. The thing is, the more you simplify Tinder, the better it's going to work for you. By making this change, you'll come across as far more relaxed and your personality gets a chance to shine through. Your matches will see you're someone worth talking to and not another pickup artist, which is just sleazy. Be
and not another pickup artist, which is sleazy. This like see this kind of like these bitches have no fucking understanding of what it's like to be a guy. Like the fact that as men we have to learn game. Like we have to learn it. Even good looking guys. Like while a really good looking guy, it's going to be easier to get in the door. Still has to learn game to some extent. Um, but if you're an average looking guy or below, like you certainly have to learn game. You have to learn game. You have to learn how to pick up girls. Like it's not like, oh, we can just all go on Tinder and get all these matches and just like just like learn bullshit. Like it's like bullshit. You can't even get in the door. Like there's ways to maximize your account, and you have to do like that's like, all that extra shit, having to work having to figure out all this fucking digital shit when it's just you can go out there in real life and it's like 100 times easier. Like literally, it's so exponent. It's so much easier in real life. Like you can't imagine. Um, like I said, if you're in the vast majority of men, for a certain portion of men, um, online dating is going to be extremely good for them, but that's just not the reality for most men. Like the vast majority, 85% of men, it's just not. Even 90%, it's not. Like you're just going to get it's going to get consistently ripped off, like badly, like, and it's just not very efficient. It's not an efficient way to get women. um a lot of guys want to be efficient, even busy guys. They think they don't have time to they don't have time to do cold approaches. You Cold approaches doesn't, like, you don't have to be going out, for 5 hours a day doing, like, strictly doing cold approach. Cold approach just becomes part of your lifestyle. Cold approach just becomes something you do. Like, I mean, it shouldn't. It's You can incorporate. In fact, it's the best way to incorporate it into your lifestyle. It's like that's just who you become. So you see a hot girl at the bus station, you make an approach. It takes like 3 minutes, and that could be a lay at a later date, or on the same day, or it's so you know it's just that's one misconception guys get about day game and cold approach. They think, oh, I have to go out for 3 hours and do it. I don't have time for that. I'm too busy. It's like, dude, you don't have to do it like that. You just do it. You just approach girls when you on your way somewhere, when you see them, when as part of your routine. When you're out and about, you're doing some shopping, you see a hot girl in the fucking pasta aisle, you go up and talk to her. You just have to get used to doing it. And it's like the quality of women you get, it's immediately higher because you're only approaching hot girls. Like, you're not getting catfished, you're not selecting, um you're not swiping, on the application, you're swiping right on all these busted hoes just because you're fucking out of curiosity, other than anything, you know. Um, but in real life, once you learn how to cold approach and you get confident about doing it, the success rate is so much higher. The Dark Gentleman says the bigger disadvantage when girls put filter on height for the sub 6 foot fellas. I don't even. I mean, how can they even verify that? I mean, that's hilarious. But I mean, yeah, dating it. Yeah, I don't even. I mean, I go on occasionally just to check out what kind of shit show they are, but I haven't tried. I haven't even tried to meet a girl from a dating app. Um, in I can't remember. I literally can't remember last time. Um, just because I just don't need to. I just literally do not need to. It's not something I need. Especially because I live in a city. Um, even if I was living in a smaller city, which I used to, you know, at that time I did use them a little bit, but I didn't need to use them. Um, and I certainly don't need to use them now.
Consistent. Although this app shouldn't be your top priority, you should be consistent in using it. You don't have to use it every day, but if you use it for 3 days, then disappear for a month, don't expect those conversations to be there when you return. Online dating moves quickly. If you're leaving for weeks between some of your replies, she's already moved on. So
I will agree with that point. I mean, certainly, if you're going to use online dating, it does move quickly. But that's not only for online dating. That's for dating in general. Um, when I go out and do day game, um, or when I do a cold approach, I get a number. I respond like we're not living in the 1950s anymore. You have to be quick. So I'll message that girl later that day or the next day at the latest, and try and arrange a date. You know, that's how you have to do it. You cannot be leaving it like a week or two, because like those leads go cold after. Like a lot happens, you know. So even if the girl liked you, even if the girl liked me, okay, so I do a cold approach, she likes me, oh he's, he's a cool guy, I leave it like 7 days to send her a message. Yeah, like if she has nothing else going on, yeah, she might reply to me, but just the chances of her having nothing else going on, because women are just inundated with options. So like within that week, all like she's probably been out, she's probably met other guys, guys have been messaging her. So you're I know you like to think you're special, but you're not that special. So like in her eyes, so you need to be on it. You need to get in there, fucking arrange a date, and get it done. Because it is actually just it's the same in real life. You got to be snappy with it. Once you get their contact, try and set up the date. You know.
So long ago that she can't remember who you are. Consistency is key if you actually want to start dating. Don't be a creep. This is solid life advice in general, but it's also something I wish more guys would listen to. Speaking from personal experience, sleazy guys are one of the biggest drawbacks of dating apps for women. No weird pickup lines, no requesting nude photos, and for God's sake, no, hey baby, you're hot, I want you. It's creepy. Be wary of the one-eyed.
But men and women are all just the same, right? We're all just the same. Yet, why is it always men that are requesting nude photos? It's like, I mean, we all know that like men and women are absolutely not the same in any way, shape, or form. Certainly not in the way we, view the opposite sex. Like men are like extremely visual. Like we get turned on visually, that's why men watch so much porn. That's why we want to see nude photos of girls, we want to see their pictures, because we're visual creatures. Men are extremely visual. And yeah, but we're all oh, it's all a social construct. We've all been just socially constructed to be, want to see naked pictures of chicks. Yeah, anyway, but seriously though, like, so we're just very different in the way we approach things. But yeah, obviously, like, as a rule of thumb, I never um you know sexualize the interaction before I've tried to fuck them. So that's something, like, especially with cold approach and day game. Like, I won't even talk to them. I'll try and cut out all the fucking chit chat, and it'll basically, you know I'll get their contact. It'll be like, nice to meet you, it was, whatever. But it'll be basically right into like trying to set up the date, for coffee or a drink or whatever. And sometimes the chicks will they'll try and ask me this, that, and the other, and I'll answer a few of their questions, but I'm not gonna go down the rabbit hole of talking shit, right? I'm not gonna like just like do these like conversations like back and forth, because some girls will try and do that, like. And if you get into that, this can, it's a sign of low interest. It's a sign. It's like a girl that's on the fence. It's kind of like when I'm on a date and the girl starts asking me a ton of questions. Like, to a guy that has no game and doesn't understand women, he'll think, oh, maybe the girl, like, she was really interested in me. But it's actually the opposite in a lot of cases. When you're on a date with a girl and she's like kind of grilling you on it, like she's asking you like a lot of like, what's your job, and like, oh, like really like grilling you on stuff, like it's kind of personal like questions. That's a sign that she's not interested in you. It's almost like she's giving you a shit test. She's trying to find reasons to not like you. um and a sign that a girl is when you're on a date with a girl, she should be speaking like 70 to 80% of the time, and that's a sign that she's interested in you when she's opening up and she's telling you about herself. Um, so that's what you got to do on a date. It's like you're kind of you're shooting them questions, they're answering the questions, you're contributing, telling them a little bit about yourself, but they're talking more than you are, a lot more, and that's a good sign. That's a sign that she likes you, because a sign that a girl doesn't really like you is if she's not really expanding on what you ask her. She's not really, talking that much. She's trying to ask you a lot of questions. But yeah, the world works in funny ways, but that's the way that's from my experience, and I have a lot of it.
Itis. For the unfamiliar, one-itis is when you become fixated on just one person. You have plenty of matches and conversations going, but you're borderline obsessed with just one. It might sound harmless enough, but ironically, having that much interest in one person is going to hurt your chances. Your replies become near instant. You message her constantly, and you make it clear that you'll drop everything for her. Forget what Hollywood tells you. That's
And why is that? Why is it that chicks don't like when guys are too easy and too available? They don't like it because it gives them the impression that you are punching up as a guy. It gives her the impression that she's punching down, because she knows that she has you already. There's no it's not that because women have to think, in for a woman to be extreme, like very attracted to a guy, she has to feel like she's winning in some way, shape, or form. She has to feel like she's winning something. She has to feel like she's got a catch. She cannot feel like the guy, like a guy is like fucking super eager to meet her, and super fucking like just gonna. It's just such a turn off for chicks when they realize that, oh, I have him already. Like, there's nothing I can do. I can walk all over this guy. I can treat him like shit, and he's still gonna be there. Nah, it just doesn't work. It just doesn't work that well that way. It doesn't work that you need just that nice. You need that little sprinkle of treating them like shit. You do. You really do. It's not like you just you have to interpret that the correct way, but it doesn't mean you go out and you literally treat them like shit. But it's more of an attention thing. That's why you need plates going. You need to have options as a guy. You cannot be focused on um you cannot be focused just on one chick. Like, um you know sometimes I'll like fucking I'll hook up with a chick that's like, I'll know it's super hot, and I'll bang her, and I'll just intentionally not hit her up again. I just won't hit her up again, because I know that every other guy is hitting her up, like, immediately the next day, telling her, and I'm perfectly satisfied. I'm perfectly pleased if I never see her again. Like, honestly, I'm really, like, I mean that. Uh, it's almost like it's an ego boost for me to just not, like, not even try to fuck them again, even though they're super hot and the sex was fire and I had a good time. I just won't hit them up again. just, just because you know I like variety. I like the variety is the spice of life for me. And if it's a one night thing, it's a one night thing. I'll deal with it. I'll find other chicks. It's fine. If she doesn't hit me back up, that's fine. Um, so that's just the abundance mindset. It really is. It's talked about a lot, the abundance mindset, but it's legitimate. Um, you're just going to be more attractive as a man when you have options, or if you just have the mindset that you have options.
not what romance looks like in the real world. It's not what women are looking for either. It starts to feel very needy and overwhelming. If you find yourself constantly falling into this trap, you need to check out our in depth course on meeting and attracting women authentically using the link above. It's great for normal guys who need a little extra help to really take their dating life to the next.
See, she's even spilling the beans. Like she's spilling the beans. There's nothing worse than a needy guy, man. Like a needy guy. There's even it's just they're just weak, man. Like a needy guy, a guy that needs attention. He's a fucking weakling. It's just weak as fuck. Like just constantly hitting up a girl, DMing her, messaging her, like you know, it's just needy as fuck. And it's just even if she's responding, it's like, you know, it's like it just doesn't come across well if you're just if you're spending like a lot of time messaging a girl. It's just like what's this guy, is this, it just it gives her the impression that you've nothing else going on. And that's not a good impression to give a girl. It should be the opposite. It should be, you want, there is like a balance to be hit. If you want to keep a girl on the fucking, if you want to keep her on the roster, you're going to have to give her some attention. But there's always, as with everything, there's always a balance to be hit. But I would always verge on, it's always better to verge on the edge of giving way less attention than it is to give too much attention. Giving too much attention is like, it's bad. Like it's always better to give too little attention, because that gives her the impression that you're higher value. That you're not, like, you don't see her as that being that important, and that's like, that'll give her, that'll check her ego, and that'll give her the impression that you were a good catch. That will give her the impression that you were legitimately a good catch, because you literally don't need her. You're not like hitting her up, you know? Nothing will check a girl's ego better than, like, getting pumped and then the guy not hitting her up again. If you want to check a bitch's ego, like, that'll really make her think. That'll really make her think, especially when they're hot, like when they're really hot. Like if you smash a really hot girl and you just don't hit her up again, you just, like, legitimately, you never hit her up again. Like you don't even consider it. I mean, you consider it, but you don't do it. You just never do it because you know, you're not even thinking about it because you've other chicks on the roster, and you're working on other chicks. Player life. It's time consuming. It can get time consuming, but it's fun. It is fun. It's certainly distracting, but yeah, But seriously, legitimate. If you want to check a girl's ego, just lay down the pipe and just never hit her up again.
Next level, creating a profile. Setting up an account is so simple. Just download Tinder from the App Store and open it. Tap create an account and follow the prompts. Once that's done, you can start setting up your profile. And this is,
it's that simple. Oh, she has no idea. It's that simple. Just download the app. Just set up your profile and just swipe right. Oh man, doesn't work like that really, but
this is where some of the fun begins. Profile setup basically comes down to two things: photos and a bio. Try to choose at least 4 photos to go in your profile. The more the merrier. And remember, these photos are what most women will be judging you by at first. Avoid photos where you're wearing sunglasses or anything that's obscuring your face. And make sure that they're recent. You want her to know what you look like right now, not how you looked in 2010. Also, please, 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 no shirtless mirror selfies. That's just how we identify chats. As for the bio,
that's how they identify chads, by the shirtless mirror selfies. So that's hilarious because, I mean, obviously chads, like, I mean, chads get laid. Chads are the guys that get laid because, I mean, if you're a fucking 10 out of 10 fucking Chad taking a mirror selfie, I mean, trust me, it's not gonna matter that it's a mirror selfie. But in general, yeah, I mean, mirror selfies are somewhat unattractive uh, to women. It's funny because women are the same rules don't apply for women, but yet women will say, "Oh, men and women are equal. We're all the same. Oh my god, oh my god, men, we're all equal. We're all the same, but men are such pigs, and I hate men and all this shit." But no, women can do all the mirror selfie shit and take the mirror selfies, but no, it is true that it is unattractive. However, if you're a Chad, if you're a legitimate Chad, ironically, she's using the word Chad as if it's a bad thing, like that, like Chads don't get laid from dating apps, but Chads are the guys that are getting all the pussy from dating apps, even with mirror selfies. If you're a Chad, you're a Chad, and you're taking all the pussy from dating apps. But you can be a Chad in real life. Even if you don't have model looks, you can be a Chad in real life. Roll up the chicks, do cold approach, do day game, meet women in real life, and your success rate is going to be infinitely higher.
Text, just keep it simple. A short, engaging profile is so much better than maxing out the character limit, rambling about yourself. If you're witty and have a good sense of humor, here's your chance to show that off. Tinder moves quickly, so short is best. How matching on Tinder works. The process of finding matches on Tinder could not be easier. If you like someone, press on their photo and swipe to the right. If you don't, swipe left. No matter which way you swipe, you'll immediately be shown the next profile for you to swipe left or right on. If you swipe right on someone and she swipes
Is this like how old? I don't check. I thought this video is like a year old. Is this video for like geriatrics or something? Like what the fuck? You need to be you need to be like clinically retarded not to know how to use Tinder. Like it's like how to use Tinder. Like Jesus Christ. Like I mean, yeah. I mean, you would need to be like yeah. You literally need to be clinically retarded not to be able to use Tinder. Not to know how to figure it out. But
right on you, well, that's a match. Now you can chat within the app. Easy, huh? Just a quick tip with your swiping habits. You're limited to 50 likes per day. There's also a complicated algorithm that decides who you're shown to. If you swipe right on every single profile, you'll be shown to fewer women. So don't just swipe right on every woman that you see. Sending messages that get a response. Finally, there's the messaging. There are no set rules here besides keep it simple and be yourself. Boring, huh? Honestly, if you say something more interesting than just hi and you're not being a creep,
just be yourself. Terrible advice, obviously. If every guy was just themselves, they'd be like, "Hey, let's meet and fuck. Send me nudes. Just send me nudes. I want to see your butt. Send me titty pics." Like, no. As men, we cannot be ourselves. We have to play the game. We have to play the game. You know. I wish, if we could just be ourselves, there would be no problems. But we cannot just be ourselves.
you're already ahead of the game. Take a look through her photos, read her bio, and think about what you'd say to her if you were face to face. Now, type that. Not so difficult, huh? Messaging on Tinder isn't about how much you say, it's about showing off who you are. Ignore all the cringy pickup artist garbage and just have a conversation. It doesn't need to be any harder than that. Now, get out there and start swiping. If
It's that easy, guys. Just get out there and start swiping. Um, no, just get out there and start doing cold approaches. Like I said, it's not that you can't get some lays from dating apps. You can. You'll get some. If you're an average guy, you're gonna get busted chicks. If you're a slightly above average guy, you might get some average girls. If you're a good looking guy, you'll get some slightly above average girls. You get my point. You're always gonna be punching down and on on dating apps, it's like it's just amplified. It's very much amplified. You'll never have to punch down that hard in real life. You really do not like. And it's not that you're going to have 100% success rate in real life either. Absolutely not. Like rejection is a huge part of cold. Like it's a part of it. Like you're going to get rejected most of the time, but compared to online dating, it's nowhere near as close. Plus, you're getting like way hotter girls from real life. Um, you just don't get access to those hot girls in from the dating apps. I said it before, said it many times. Like the hottest girls I've gotten with from cold approach, I know for a fact I would not have matched with them on a dating app, even if they saw my profile and all that. I know they wouldn't have matched with me. I just know they wouldn't have. But in real life, it's a different ball game. It's a different ball game. Um, Super A Master says normal conversation equals ghosted. Even any conversation. I mean, chicks just have so many options, and they're obnoxiously picky, and it's just it's just you have to fucking jump through all these hoops and shit, and it's just it's bullshit. Just not. I'm really not a fan of dating apps. I really don't like them. I mean, the best dating app I ever used, it wasn't even a dating app. It was a language exchange app, and I haven't used it in a long time. I haven't even used that in a long time, and that was the best one I've ever used, and it was called Hello Talk. It was yeah, I mean, it worked really well. I think they changed it. They used to be able to search in your locality, and then they changed it. You had to subscribe, and I didn't bother. You had to have a paid subscription to access that feature, and I just stopped using it from then on. But that was honestly, I would say that was pretty good. But that wasn't even a dating app. Um, but yeah, but other than that, you know, I've used them all, and when I compare, even when I compare the Hello Talk app, which wasn't even a dating app, to like my day game days from all the like real life, even night game, real life, the girls I met from real life, whether that's day game, night game, they don't really compare, the quality is just so much higher from real life experiences. Yo, let's see what Rolo Tomasi has to say about this issue of dating apps.
When I was still in the game, but it was a walk in the park compared to the situation today. It's probably never been more difficult in modern American history, anyway, for a single person to find the right match. And that may seem paradoxical because it's also true that single people have never had more choices. And that's exactly the problem. Case in point, a recent article on the...
Oh yeah, single guys just have so many choices, so many girls just coming their way. No, really, it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. Guys do not have so many choices. I mean, guys have to make opportunities to meet girls. Guys have to put themselves in front of girls, and it's not like they're just choices lined up for you. Like, they're there for you to try and approach them and shoot your shot, but it's not like it's a choice. It's not like, oh, I can have her if I want. It's not like that at all. It's not like that at all.
The website studyfinds.org about dating apps and how people use them. And this is important because almost all single people today use dating apps. Tinder alone has 57 million users.
Let me just,
like I said earlier, like how many of that, what percentage of that are men? Like what percentage of that 57 million? I don't know. When was this even made? Surely it sounds like it should be more. Is that in America alone? Did he say that? But I'm sure it's certainly must be more than 57 million, right? I don't know. But yeah, what percentage of that is men? And plus, there's a ton of other dating apps. But yeah, I'm sure it's the vast majority of people that are like legitimately trying to use it to meet the opposite sex are must be men. Like there, I think chicks use dating apps for validation as well, and to try and get to try it, as an ego boost, because it's an ego boost for them as well. It's like a busted chick and she's feeling shitty about herself. So she goes on a dating app to get some validation. Like, because she's going to get a lot of matches. She's going to have guys fucking in her inbox. If she feels lonely, she can fucking get all these matches, start having, chats with guys that she doesn't really intend on meeting. But, that's the way it is.
Add a little data point here real quickly. We live in a time where women have never had as much choice as they do now. Men, on the other hand, look at the data sets. Really, Matt, seriously, I
really want to highlight that point and just reiterate it. Like, that's another reason dating apps are so fucking dumb for men to use. Like I said, if you can avoid using them, you should. There's some situations where guys unfortunately need to use dating apps. Like I said, if they're in very isolated locations, like very rural areas, like but yeah, like really, yeah, I wouldn't want to, if you're a young single guy, you shouldn't be, yeah, you should try and not be living in those locations, really, because when you're old and fucking haggard and crippled, you've all the time in the world to be living in the countryside and being isolated and all of that. But when you're a young man, like when you're fucking a young man, you should be around fertile hunting grounds, I seriously believe that, it's like, you just should, man. Like, it's just, men should be around young fertile females when they're young and fertile themselves, so like it's kind of a wasted opportunity. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of a waste of life if you're a young man and you're out in the fucking sticks, out in the boonies, out in the middle of nowhere. I know I love the countryside myself. I love wilderness, but would I want to live there? Fuck no. Like, I just couldn't really. I just become too frustrated. It'd be too like, sure, I appreciate the wilderness. I love it, but could I live there? No, because I just, there's not enough access to fucking females, uh Super A Master says Japanese girls on dating apps saying they want to learn English. Yeah, I mean, fuck it. Like, I mean, they can learn English, and you can fuck them. Sometimes, it's an exchange, a value exchange. But yeah, some of these chicks, you gotta. I mean, yeah, I talked about Hello Talk earlier. That's pretty much what I did. It wasn't a dating app, but I treated it like a dating app in the past. But like I said, I haven't used that app in a long time. But as far as I was just saying, that was my best dating app experience, was fucking Hello Talk, which ironically wasn't even a dating app.
Cover this all the time in the manosphere. When you look, you don't even have to do it in the manosphere. You can look it up on OkCupid. You can look it up on Tinder. You can look it up on Pornhub. You probably won't go look there, but if you go and you look at the stats of the guys, the gender difference between who responds to who, the ratio of men responding to women is something like 100 or maybe even more than that to 1. In fact, they've done stuff like women have done studies, or have done their own studies, where they pose as a man on Tinder, and to see what a man's experience is like. That it's like being ahead of, you're one sheep in the herd. So yeah, there's choice. There's definitely a choice addiction. There's a choice, paradox in all of this.
Yeah, you're one fucking sheep in the herd, right? So like you just and the other thing you get lost in the fucking you get lost in the fucking crowd, you know? Like it's it's like I cold approached this chick, this fucking super hot girl. In my opinion, she was a 10. She was my ideal 10. She's just fucking sexy as fuck. And you know, a cold approach her, same as always, you know, compliment, introduction, question. You know, she was very receptive. So I knew, you know, I knew from the moment I approached her, when I opened her, she was, she, yeah, that's the thing about cold approach. I love it because, like, as soon as I talk to her, like, as soon as I make contact with a girl, I know whether or not she's into me or not. Cause, like, they can't help, like, the way in which a girl responds to you, they can't help but give you some kind of signal or body language, a little smirk, a little, like, twinkle in their eye. But on the other hand, I know exactly when a girl doesn't want to talk, like she doesn't want anything to do with me. So, and it's immediate just because I've done it like thousands of times. Anyway, I approached her, got her number, you know, messaged her a few times, tried to arrange a date. Funny enough, she made excuses twice. On the third time, so this is why I have a rule of three. Like I'll invite a girl 3 times max, right? Max. Like, and people are, oh, you know, you're like, you're needy if you invite them 3 times. No, but they're spaced out. They were spaced out, and it depends on the way in which they are responding to your invitations. It depends on whether or not they are, you know, there's sometimes I'll only invite a girl once, like, or like, I mean, obviously if they don't respond, or you know, but anyway, my point is she was responsive even though she was making excuses. Third time she was like, she was free, she came through, and yeah, she was fucking hot. But this girl, like, you know, I was sitting talking to her, and she said something about something. Oh, she told me she was at some beach or something. I said, I want to see your bikini, do you have a photo? And she showed me, like, she said, oh, okay. And she took out her Instagram and she showed me. And this girl had like 110,000 followers. Like, you know, so I don't know what the fuck she, you know, I didn't, some kind of model or something. But I was like, shit. Like, I was just thinking, imagine I tried to slide into her DMs. There's not even a chance she's gonna respond to me. Just because I would get lost in the fucking, I would be like a sheep in the herd, you know. It would just be another, like a needle in a haystack. And even if she saw my profile, I'm sure she, you know, she, like I said, she would be like, oh, it's another dude, you know. It wouldn't. But in real life, she saw me. She saw, like it's attractive in itself, the fact that you're approaching them in real life. Because what, like, like a guy that's, you know, confident, looks good, dresses well, you know, all that stuff. Approach in real life is like, it's just infinitely better, like infinitely better. So the only way I got access to that girl is because I met her in real life, and I approached her, like, and absolutely zero indicate, like she didn't see me coming. But when I did approach her, she saw me. She was receptive and she liked what she saw, and she gave me her number, and we had a date, and it worked out. You know, I fucked her, so it was a good time. And yeah, so you want to get tens, for, if you're, and like, if you're not a model looking guy, like the only way you're gonna be able to meet women that are tens is real life. Is like learn game, dress well, and approach in real life. Like I said, unless you're like, the other ways, if you're famous or something and you have like mad clout, or you have a really good online presence or something. The only guys, the only kind of guys that I'm sure this girl responds to in her DMs are guys that like have a really good online presence and like have a lot of followers, or are, you know, I don't even think a girl like this would respond to really good looking guys with, like, that don't have a good online presence. Because there's a lot of like fucking really good looking guys that don't have a good online presence either. So that's also another thing. So even if I was like a really good looking guy, and I went and I DM and I had like, I had a normal Instagram with like a couple hundred followers, she probably wouldn't respond, because she wouldn't really even see it. You know what I mean? It's just a shit show trying to respond to trying to get with these chicks online. So like the last bastion of hope is fucking get out there in the real world. And the thing about that is it's never going away unless they fucking throw us all in the gulags and make it fucking make it illegal for men to approach women. And you could even imagine them trying to push something like that. You could literally imagine these motherfuckers trying to fucking pull something like that after all this beer bug shit. It wouldn't surprise me if they made like, the world we're living in is just getting more and more draconian and more like fucking all these rules and extra shit. I hate it, to be honest, but
But it ain't for men.
That's just one app. Overall, about 50% of the population consists of single adults, which is a staggeringly high number as marriage rates continue to plummet.
Yeah, 6 point.
And about 40% of adults use online dating. So you connect the dots there. Granted, unfortunately, not all of those online daters are actually single, but we can hopefully assume that the vast majority are. So what is the actual experience of using these apps? How do people use them? Here's what the article says. It says, online dating became a way of life for millions of singles during the coronavirus pandemic. Dating apps like Match.com, Tinder, and OkCupid are responsible for 10% of the long-lasting adult relationships in America, which is actually pretty low considering how many people use these apps. And as it turns out, these daters aren't wasting time when it comes to choosing who to swipe right on. A recent study shows that users know within a second whether or not to express interest in someone else. So what makes someone choose to make the move on a profile? Researchers say it comes down to judging the book by its cover. The attract.
It's the same in real life as well. So like, I mean, that's why I was saying earlier that I know immediately, like when I put myself in front of a girl and open her, I know immediately if she's like, that's why it's really not a big deal. Like it's when I approach a girl, I know immediately whether or not I should pursue trying to talk to her or not. Because it's glaringly obvious to me when a girl doesn't want have anything to do with me. So I'll open a girl and she'll ghost me. She won't give me anything. It'll just be ice. I'll be like, okay, fuck this. I'm not wasting my time. You know what I mean? Just because I've done the fucking reps thousands of times. I have the experience. So I just understand like female body language innately, just from all the reps and all the times it's just do the math in my head and it just makes sense to me. So immediately.
Attractiveness of a person is primarily what compels another to swipe right, the study finds. Within a split second, the user determines whether or not they will accept a date based on appearance and even race. Now, there's nothing new or scandalous about people choosing mates based first on appearance. Appearance is important, and it's not a
Okay, let's clarify terms once again, Matt. Who are the primary people that are using? What gender uses Tinder? What gender uses these quote unquote dating apps the most? Who does the picking? Who does the swiping? Who does the rule making apply to? Mostly women. They're the ones who are the selection. The vast majority of the people who are using it are men.
That goes for anything to do with getting women, anything to do with sex, anything to do with having sex, finding sex, getting sex, meeting chicks. There's always going to be more men like in those places, whether it's a nightclub, whether it's a dating app, whether it's wherever it is, there's going to be more men. Like I was saying earlier in the episode, I can't remember a time where I've been to a nightclub or a bar and there's been more chicks in the place. And if there has, it's extremely rare. And it's like, holy shit, this is crazy. Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I fucking absolutely loved doing beach game, I've been, going to the beach and fucking picking up chicks on the beach recently. And the reason it's so fucking good is because there's so many chicks there. Oh my God. But the thing is, the thing is, they're not there. It's not. It's like they're there because they want to go to the beach. They're not really there to um they're not there. It's not like a nightclub or a bar or a dating app. They're there to get suntan and hang out with their friends, and just so happens it's a good place to meet them. um, Especially since they're wearing like little bikinis, basically wearing underwear on the beach. It's a good time. It's a very good time. But yeah, like other than that, if it's a place that's like known for men and women to meet, that's designed for men and women to meet, it is going to have a lot more men. It's always going to have more men. It's always going to have more men, for sure. Yeah, but a friend of mine was telling me he went to like he says it's basically like a sex club. It's not like a swingers bar, because a swingers bar is like generally you have to be a couple to enter, and I've been to them a few times, and I've taken a few sacrificial lambs there. But the thing is, no, anyway, the thing is, my friend's telling me he went to the sex club, and he said it was like there was tons of guys there, and he said it like he was surprised by it, and I was like, dude, what the fuck do you expect, man? Like, it's a sex club. Like, there's obviously gonna be, you think there's gonna be more girls going to a sex club? Do you actually think there's gonna be more girls that are gonna show up to a sex club than men? Obviously not. Like, so that's why the reason I wasn't interested in going to one of those places, because it's like there's gonna be dudes there. Like, there's gonna be a few like gonna be a few turned out hoes, and there's gonna be a bunch of dudes, and I'm not interested in that. Like, I'm not, like, But it was just funny because I just remembered that, because he was like, "Oh, there was way more guys there." I was like, "Dude, like, obviously, like, you think there's it's obvious." But a lot of guys, sometimes they just they don't see what's obvious. Like, they don't,
So when it comes to the selectivity process, the people the people who are judging a book by the cover, those people have vaginas primarily. They're the ones who are doing on Hinge and Bumble. They are definitely 100% the ones doing the swiping, based on nothing but looks, Matt. So keep that in mind. Maybe you weren't aware of that. I love, again, how do we keep this as gender neutral as possible? Yeah, people. The idea, you would never get from anything he's going to say in this video, you would never get anything to the effect that it is what the gender skew is in all of this. You will never get that, because to do so would be seemingly judgmental of women. And it would mean that men would also have to be responsible for vetting those women who are.
I think one of the hilariously ironic things is, and it's not hilarious for most guys, but it is hilarious. But the thing is, men want sex way more than women. That it's just, I'm not saying, listen, women absolutely do want sex, but it's different. It's on a different level with men, and it's so fucking obvious that's the case. I mean, it's just like in any place where there's a place to have sex, or anything involved with meeting men, meeting women, like I said, there's going to be more men, like, and especially online and anywhere, there's going to be more men. But the irony of it is, women have sex more than men. Not because they like sex more than men, or they pursue sex more than men, just because it's fucking coming at them. Like, it's so fucking easy for a woman to have sex. It's so easy. It's ridiculously easy. There's no skill involved. There's no game involved. They don't need to do anything. All they need to do is put on their clothes, put on some makeup, and put themselves out in the world, and sex will come to them. It will come to them. Like, a woman, And an ugly woman could have sex 365 days a year if she wanted. If she tried to do it, she could do it. It doesn't involve any skills. So that's why when when women like criticize men for being players, it's like, bitch, it's not like you don't understand. Like you don't get it. Like it's like because they're projecting. They understand how easy it is for them to have sex. They have no comprehension of how, like what it's like to be a man. Like they don't understand that you need to learn game. So that's why when these bitches like criticize, men for being players and doing this and that, it's like, man, had to learn that. We had to become that. It didn't just come to us. It's not easy to do that as a man. So it involves, you have to be something. You have to have something. You have to have game. You have to look good. You have to dress well. You have to fit all these requirements. This fucking meanwhile, a busted fat chick can go on a dating app and there'll be guys lining up to fuck her. There will, because guys are super thirsty, super thirsty, man. And it's you can't really. It's just part of male nature, really, to be thirsty. Like, I mean, we're all thirsty, yeah, but I mean, there's levels to the thirst, and it's shit,
Are doing the swiping based solely on how the book looks, the cover of the book looks. We won't talk about those things. We don't want to talk about those things because to do so would be to admit to an unflattering truth about women's nature. You will never see this happen. You will never see a burden of responsibility for female choice, which is what this really is, largely. Hinge, Bumble, definitely. Tinder, yeah, largely, mostly.
Small or irrelevant detail. Yeah, they say don't judge a book by its cover, but the thing about a book is that you don't have to see the cover while you're reading it. You open the cover and that's it. As for someone you're dating or married to, you have to look at that cover every day. So it's good if you find it appealing. My wife has already outlined, has many wonderful qualities, but I never would have learned about those qualities if I didn't find her attractive. When you first meet someone, you aren't going to know about their deeper, truer selves and whatever character traits, good or bad, may be lying under the surface. Those things come out in time. It doesn't take a long time, but it does take time. Initially, you're going to be making more surface level judgments to decide if it's worth investing that time. So that's not in itself the problem here.
No, that is the problem. According to Jocko,
Yeah, this Matt Walsh guy's a fucking pussy for not like outlining the differences in gender. It's like, oh, just people. We all just judge by a book by its cover, and it's like he's talking about it like it's men and women that are experiencing the same problems. It's not at all, not at all. It's not at all the same in any way, shape, or form. So he's a pussy. He's bringing up the points, but he's not saying what the real issue is. And it is, as Ro Tomasi's absolutely right. It is entirely women have all the fucking power on dating apps. They have all the fucking power. Like with real life cold approach, men can take back some choosing power because we can choose. Like you can physically put yourself in like in the space of a woman, and she's gonna see you, and that at least you have that. But she gets to see you, she gets to experience you, in a way which she can never really experience you on a fucking like on a little tiny little picture on her phone. It's just different.
it is the primary problem. You're supposed to be able to see that there is a lion in the cave, remember? And there's lion scat around the cave before you go into the cave. You're supposed to be getting those data points. Well, at least Matt is smart enough to point out the fact that, yeah, you have to actually be and get into a relationship in the first place so that you can figure out that, oh my God, this is a lion in the first place. So there's the process. Now, I don't know anything about Jocko's personal life or anything like that. I know he's married, but I don't know for how long. But I do know this is both Jocko and Matt himself are using old order understandings of intersexual dynamics that are no longer in play, that are completely obsolete. Now, have men and women's natures changed at all? No, primarily no. The evolved nature, certainly not. But what we expect, what we think should happen between men and women, that has dramatically changed over the course of certainly just the last 20 years, the beginning of the 21st century for sure, with the advent of social media, with the advent of the ease with which we have choice, as Matt has eloquently pointed out for us here. So yeah, the problem is you're still thinking that the ideal arrangement, the ideal way that this should happen is in the 20th century, is back in the 90s, back in the 80s, back in the 50s, back in the 40, back in World War II era. It'd be so much greater if we could all just go back to that, because that would be a great thing. You're not going back to that. The nature hasn't changed, but the interaction and the context has most definitely changed, and you need to change with it.
The problem is the sheer number of choices and how quickly the dating app user has been conditioned to swipe through them.
No, Matt. The dating app user who is doing the swiping is the woman, is the female, the one doing the choosing.
Men are doing the swiping, but women are doing men and women are both doing swiping, but women are doing the choosing. Because most of the men are swiping right on almost all of the women. But it's the women that are choosing. That's why women like, I've seen girls using dating apps before. If you've ever seen a girl use dating apps before, it's interesting, to say the least. It's interesting. I've seen girls like swipe right on guys that they really have a swipe left on guys, like, reject guys that they really have no business rejecting. That in real life, it's like, but they just have that much choice. I saw a girl using a dating app, and I said, like, I told her just to swipe right on just keep swiping right, and she had like 100% match rate. She was just matching with every single guy. So it's like, yeah, it's obviously, that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is, like, So if a girl is any way good looking, she like, it's ridiculous. Like, even if she's average looking, she'll almost have a 100% swipe match rate. So if she's good looking, it's like, just forget about it. Like, you're just not getting in there. You're not going to get with her. You're not. It's not going to happen, unless you're exceptional in some way. But yeah, it is interesting the times we live in, because it's like there's a percentage of men that are fucking all of the women, and it's hilarious. Like, it's like, and I'm in that percentage, and I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. And it's not like I'm fucking all the women. There's a lot of women I can't fuck, but I'm having sex like with I'm having sex at a far higher rate than the vast majority of men. And that's not to, like, I'm not trying to blow my own trumpet. I had to learn how to do this. I'm not one of these guys that can just be, and the women are just going to come to me and I'm just going to, just get laid. Like, if I never tried to pursue women, I would never get laid. I'm perfectly comfortable admitting that. I would never get laid. I would literally, it would be a once in a blue moon experience. I might get laid maybe once a year. If I kind of went out doing the same things I do, if I continued to go to nightclubs, but I never really made approaches, and, I continued going out doing the things I do, but without approaching women, yeah, I might get laid once a year. Maybe. If I'm with one chick, maybe, if I was lucky. If, that's just what I'm trying to say. Like, you as a, the reason I get laid so much is because I make the approaches. I talk to the hot girls. I go and try and get their numbers. I arrange the dates. I take them back to my place. I escalate. I fuck them. So, just, that's what you have to do as a man. Unless you're fucking, I don't know, unless you're Yeah, that's the only thing I know. I don't know any other way. I never had a situation where chicks just like fucking came to me looking for sex. Like, you know. I mean, anytime it ever did happen, anytime a chick ever came to me and let it be known that she wanted to have sex with me, she was like a 4. Like, you know what I mean? Like a 4 or 5, something completely unappealing, something, uh so I'm just you want to make that point very clear.
Choosing. Look at the numbers. Look at the gendered difference between how many men are on these dating sites, which he's I love how he doesn't mention them by name. The person doing the swiping is primarily the female.
The problem is also the very act of swiping, I think. There's something about swiping through just doing this, through a series of human faces that makes the whole exercise somewhat dystopian and
If it were Matt, if it were only faces, it wouldn't be funny. It would not be funny.
Humanizing. Yes, the cover on the book matters. Yes, physical attraction matters, is important. But these days, people are reduced to just a postage stamp sized picture on a phone, and potential matches will give them all of 1 second before deciding whether to relegate them to the junk folder. It's
right, which is why 80% of men are rated as below average in looks.
It's quite degrading. Not to mention fruitless, because there are.
Yeah, no, it is. It's literally, as a guy, if you continue to use dating apps as your primary source, it's fucking degrading. It's literally degrading. You're getting made a fool of. Like, you're getting ripped off. You're getting like I used the analogy before. It's like going into a car dealership with 100 grand, and you say, a secondhand car dealership, you've 100 grand, you want to get a fucking nice Ferrari, man, like a secondhand one. I don't know. I don't even know if you get I'm sure you get a Ferrari for 100 grand. I don't know, a secondhand one, a few years old or whatever. But whatever, you go in, you expect to get a good car. You're like, what can I get? What's a secondhand car I can get? Really you want a high fucking really good car. Like, you want a really good, because you've 100 grand, So, and the car dealership, dealer says, I'll see what I can do. And he comes out and he shows you a Ford Fiesta. And you're like, what, dude, what, why are you showing me a Ford? Why are you showing me a Ford Fiesta, man? I've 100 grand. He's like, dude, that's what you're getting, man. Give me the money. Give me your money. This is what you're getting. You're getting a Ford Fiesta for 100 grand. That's what's happening to you on a dating app. You're getting ripped off badly. You're getting these fucking busted hoes, and you're worth way more than that. Seriously, like that's a good analogy.
There are so many people on these apps, and because they're designed in such a way to encourage these split-second decisions.
True.
All that means is that you have to browse through an enormous number of potential matches. An article in Mashable a couple of years ago, quoting the editor of a trade publication called Global Dating Insights, says that the average dating site user has to swipe through 7,500 profiles before having a meaningful interaction. Now that's...
Yeah, who's doing the swiping, and who are the 7,500 who get swiped?
Okay, so there we have it. There's my argument as to why you should be avoiding dating apps if possible. If possible, you should. If you're in a situation where you're able to do cold approaches, you should be trying to meet women in real life. It's the only way, man. It's the only way. It's for the vast majority of guys, it's just a better deal. You're just gonna get a better deal, a way better deal. Like, I'm 33 years old. I can fuck hot 21-year-old girls in Tokyo. Hot as fuck. Like, hot as fuck. Girls with thousands of Instagram followers. Like, is there any other way I could, if I didn't meet them in real life, could I meet them? Could I get access to them online? No. Right. Currently, I could not. I don't have the online presence that would demand that. I don't have it. So, what do? I go and I fucking man the fuck up, and I I do cold approaches, because that's attractive in itself. That's attractive to women in itself. Even the girls that reject you, they know. Even the girls that reject you, even the girls that fucking ghost, they know that you have a pair of balls. They don't. They know that you're a real man. They know it. Like, they know it deep down. They're like, they might behave like a bitch. They might be rude. They might, pretend they're all like offended or whatever. And that barely even happens. That's a worst case scenario kind of shit. If a chick behaves like a super bitch, like, it's kind of like, the fear mongering. Oh, if you approach a girl, like, say hello, she's gonna slap you in the face. That's like, it's never happened to me. I've done thousands of approaches. Not to say it could never ever happen. Sure, it could happen, but like, anything can happen when you approach someone. But it's like, more than likely it's not going to happen. She's either gonna like make some excuse, or like she's gonna talk to you. Like, don't listen to the fear mongering. You're doing nothing wrong by saying hello to some chick. Like, you're just showing that you have some balls, like, So yeah, even these fucking hoes that say that it's like, oh, it's, you can't be talking to, they know deep down that you have a pair of fucking balls and you're not a pussy, even if they won't admit it. But yeah, that's the way it is. I gotta go and do. I got some things to do, but as usual, like, comment, subscribe. Check out the link in the description. There's opportunity to get a free 15-minute consultation. Sounds short, but definitely been giving some guys some valuable tips to help them with their day game, with their cold approach, with game in general. Some guys just need to be told, man. There's just like, they're wondering why they can't get girls to talk to them, and they're rolling up to chicks dressed like shit, or they're out of shape or whatever. And it's like, yeah, you need to fix your appearance, or you need to do this, that, and the other. But check out the link. Today is Friday. I shall probably be having a weekend of degeneracy. I will talk about it Monday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But until then, have a good weekend, guys. Peace out. Bye-bye.